think it's the really guided support, and there's a lot of trainings every week, and then even day to day in the WhatsApp chat, there's a lot of help given by the different mentors.
It's a community that I love. It's not just an organization, it's a community. The coaches are very helpful. We can actually go and ask coaches for help. They don't hold back anything. It's not like I'm the Sifu, I must keep one card back. No, they're just very open, they share. So I like that. And they're very patient with someone like me. I can't do numbers, I'm lousy at IT, but they take me through anyway.
The first award winner is going to be Kok Hyong. He not just made $1,000 in this trade, he also made 1,000% in this coin called Reds. Just this week alone, Kok Hyong actually crossed 5-figure profits in one trade, and that was also on Reds. 11 weeks, 1,000%, 5-figure profits, everything kau team. Walao, crazy, brother.
I'm just 11 weeks into my boot camp, and honestly, if you ask me if I will be winning all these awards in just 11 weeks, it's a dream for me. But I'm glad I'm part of it, and I have actually achieved something.
This person who basically is winning this award and collecting the award today is Usha with $1,000 in a trade. But today she's collecting another award as well, and that award she's collecting is also a 5-figure profit in a trade, which she heard right in these rooms when I was sharing, right? And this was on a coin called Brett, B-R-E-T-T, where she made over $23,000. Wow, my goodness.
The why is the most important. Why you want to do it. And crypto is, I think, the fastest way. So if somebody wants to get in and frankly, if I can do it, anybody can.
Very thankful for the community, and of course Rash is not just a coach but really a very good friend that I found. When you're going through the hard times, he's still there to kind of tell you, they keep going, don't worry, the good times will come. I come in as not a full-time trader, I don't know anything about trading, but today I am very glad that I can have this knowledge to share with others. Every action that you take moves you a little bit forward. I no longer look at my past losses as failures. I really look at it as learning points, right? Without those opportunities to learn from those areas, I wouldn't have the conviction today that I finally molded to do what I need to do.
Very good, very good, very good. Let's give a round of applause, guys.
Hi everybody. If you can hear and see me, type in a 1 in the chat. Type in a 1 in the chat if you can hear and see me. I'm excited. I'm excited today, champions, because we've got we're about to experience something extraordinary today, something incredible. And we've got investors from all over the globe. So I want you to type in, where are you logging in from? Where are you logging in from? Singapore, Malaysia. So we got, let's see, we got Dylan, we got Robbie, we got Mel, Ivan. We got so many cool people. Thailand, Australia. Where is everybody else from? Where is everyone else from? Malaysia, Singapore. Excellent. Who else? Where else we got? Germany. Where else? Singapore. Okay, Germany. That's amazing. That's amazing. Grimmer, Singapore. Victor, Singapore. So I'm so excited. So let's get to it. Let's get to it. So first off, let me just cover you. So today is a special YouTube live from Modern Wealth Academy. And tonight we're going to cover, because who here over the last 3 or 4 weeks has learned a lot by trading cryptocurrency? Type in me if you've learned a lot. Maybe not good lessons, but you had some learnings. Type in me if it's like, wow, it's just been ridiculously crazy. You had a lot of learnings. And what's happening is you're having to refigure your psychology is like, am I in the best spot now? You know, am I in the best spot now in terms of psychology? Should I be trading crypto? Should I even be an investor at all? Type in me if you've had those thoughts in your brain over the last couple weeks, probably the last month. Type that in if that's you, or give me a heart if that's you. So today, our guest speaker, he isn't just a speaker. He's a close friend, but I would say he's a force of nature in the personal and professional transformation space. He's got over three decades to mastering the art of leadership, personal growth, and financial empowerment. Marc Accetta has ignited breakthroughs. Forget this, over 1 million people around the globe, spanning over 40 countries and 6 continents. And let me ask you a few questions. Are you truly harnessing your full potential in your investment strategies? Type in yes or no right now. Are you fully harnessing your full potential in your investment strategies? I would say no for me. Question number 2, how could understanding your unique personality unlock higher levels of success and fulfillment? For me, I would say, let me just repeat that question. How could understanding your unique personality unlock higher levels of success and fulfillment? I think that's a game changer. Type in yes, yes, if you believe that if you could unlock and kind of get more towards your true core, it will help you explode when it comes to investing. And let me ask you this last question, which I'm sure is going to be yes, 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 yes. What if one powerful shift in your mindset could amplify your wealth and impact? And that's what Marc is aiming to do tonight. Marc Accetta, creator of the transformational 4 colors personality test. He's here to guide you through critical insights tailored specifically to ambitious and successful investors like you. Alongside his amazing wife, Sarah, Marc dedicates himself to giving back, to charity. And his most important concept in life right now is building a legacy of meaningful impact. Today, you're about to discover how to level up your financial freedom, tap into the power of your personality, and create unstoppable momentum in your life. So ladies and gentlemen, let's buckle up, get energized, and help me give a massive warm welcome to the legendary Marc Accetta. Type in a bunch of M's. Type in a bunch of M's to get him excited. Type in a bunch of M's, and let's bring Marc on board. Let's see if we have Marc's there. That technical. There he is, Marc there. Okay, let's see if he's there yet.
All righty. Well, thank you for playing that promo video. I appreciate that. I haven't seen that in a little while. Let me address first things first. I have 2 things before I start. Number 1, I'm in my car. I apologize, but in the Marine Corps, they teach you have to improvise, adapt, and overcome. So God sometimes has a sense of humor. We had an accident right outside of my beautiful home with my office where all my stuff is set up. And the internet, the electricity, everything is gone for a whole bunch of blocks. So I had to jump in my car, get somewhere where we had some Wi-Fi, and boom, we're off and running. So I apologize, but at least I'm in a nice car. You know what I mean? So I guess that's cool. Number 2, this is really cool that I'm getting to address this group. I'm very honored to be invited. And, you know, Louis is someone I've known for many, many, many years. Definitely consider him a good friend. And it was about 15 years ago when he invited me to a speaking engagement in Singapore where he put a seed in my mind that the training that I do about personalities, which I call color training, which we'll get to, that I needed to do that in a much bigger, much broader way, to take it to a whole different level, because it was part of what I trained. It was kind of a cornerstone part of what I trained, but it wasn't a heavy emphasis. So, that stewed in the back of my head for about 14 years. And about a year ago, I got together a team of developers and we dramatically revamped the test. We've come up with an amazing, as soon as you take the test, you have the option of purchasing a personalized report and then getting live training on colors. So the first thing I want to let you guys know is I'm going to have a phenomenal gift for this community because of my connection with Louis. I know that the founders of this channel are also people who have been coming to my events. So I'm just really excited and honored to be here, and I want to give you guys that gift. I strongly encourage you to use it because this information can truly impact a lot of different areas of your life. I know we're specifically here today to talk about trading, and I'm excited about that, but I'm telling you, I love to teach people universal success principles, meaning that you can apply it to multiple areas of your life. So, for example, with the color training, with the personality training, you can apply it to trading. You can apply it to how to recruit someone for your business. You can apply it to how to make a sale to someone. You can apply it to how to ask somebody on a date. You can apply it to having a great marriage. You can apply it to raising your children. I mean, there's almost no limit. Anything where you're interacting with a human being or you yourself are needing to understand your behavior better, this is going to be valuable training. So I'm very excited to, and when I say we do that with the colors, we do, but it's not the only thing. I try to always teach, and I guess what I would say are templates, because again, instead of only having specific knowledge in one specific area, you can overlay these in different areas. I'll also say, as I was listening to Louis' opening for our Zoom, pardon me, it's early morning here, and I'm not an early morning guy, so I definitely need a sip or two of this as we go along. So, Louis was talking, and I was hearing what he was saying about, have you questioned yourself on whether you're doing it the right way? Question yourself of you should even be an investor. You know what I mean? So I'm really glad he did that, because I wanted to start off by talking about overall mindset. So the first thing, and again, if you go to my website, you're going to see this is kind of the blueprint for the way I coach people now. After I've been doing this for 37 years. I hate to admit that because that means I'm old, but it's the truth. Though for 37 years, I've been learning and applying these different principles, and kind of here in this last season, I guess you would say, my last 10 so years of teaching, this is my philosophy, and I'm excited to share it with millions and millions of people all over the world. So first of all, I believe everyone born to win. Everyone is born to win. However, then we're programmed for failure. We're programmed to lose. So born to win, programmed to lose. And part of it is intentional, and part of it is unintentional. I'll give you examples. You're a little itty bitty baby and you are in your crib and you're hanging out and everything is cool. Well, I don't know how many of you have ever had a baby, but it's sort of life altering. Like, wow. I mean, it's amazing, but it's also like now you can't sleep anymore when you want to sleep. When that baby cries, you got to run to them. There's this stress that's there all the time that you really even know what you're doing as a parent. So anyway, the baby is crying all the time. You don't know why they're crying. Do you have to change your diaper? Do you have to burp them? Do you have to feed them? Is there something seriously wrong? Especially once your first child, you kind of panic and freak out. My point is, you are the little kid, you're in the crib and you're being quiet. What is mom and dad doing at that point most of the time? They're ignoring you because you're almost never quiet. You're always crying and fussing and needing something. So they're doing something. Maybe they're taking a nap because they haven't slept in a month, or maybe they're making some food, or maybe they're making some business calls that they need to do. Does that make sense? So often when a child is well behaved, when they're an infant, they are ignored. Then they learn real quickly that when they cry, people run to them and give them massive attention. Now, I know for some of you find this hard to believe, but there are adults, some of you probably can immediately think of adults who never got past that programming. That if I want attention, I'm just going to scream and cry. Maybe they don't literally scream and cry, but they complain and they create chaos in order to get people's attention, and it's programmed into their unconscious mind. They don't even know they're doing it, and they have no possible correlation of understanding this as programming took place when they were an infant. That's one example. Another example is you're in school, you're taking a test. I think school teachers are some of the most overworked, underpaid people on the planet. So I'm not in any way attacking school teachers. If they have 100 children in a couple classes and it's test day, now they got to take those tests home and they got to grade them. And that's a lot of work to grade 100 papers. So they go through each and every line and it's either correct or wrong. When I was a kid, now I don't know if teachers correct on computers now, they probably do. But think about, for many, many years, for many, many decades, you and I get a paper back, there's 100 questions on it, and we see X, red X's, like 20 red X's or 12 red X's. And at the top of the page, I don't know about you, I got -12. So that showed me my grade. So what kind of programming is that? Instead of, now, it would have been better for our psyches if they put a little correct mark next to the 88 ones that we got right, but instead we got a red X next to the ones we got wrong. So we learn to be focused on what we're doing wrong. Oxford University, many, many years later, did a study and said, check this one out. The longer you or I, anyone, looks into a mirror, the more dissatisfied we become with our appearance. So just let that sink on you for a second. The longer we look in the mirror, the more dissatisfied we are with our appearance. So what does that tell you about our behavior in that moment? What it tells you is we're looking for what's wrong with us. But I think we're programmed in so many ways, like I just explained to you with the test, to its example. Yes, we're looking for what's wrong with us. It's just the way that we're brought up in so many different ways. You know what I mean? We are often criticized for the couple of things we did wrong instead of the many things that we did right. So as we get into our real life in the real world, we're born to win and programmed to lose. You know what I mean? People go to a school system. Here in the United States, the Rockefellers set up the school system. The school system was designed. This is not something that's hidden. You can Google this. The Rockefeller created the entire United States school system in order to create employees, because he was a manufacturer and he wanted minimum wage, basic employees. He said, and I quote, "We do not want to create free thinkers. We want to create employees." Oh, shit, I didn't know that when I was going to school. I thought I was going to school to become really, really smart and to be able to do virtually anything I wanted to do with my life. So again, I just gave you a few examples. So if you are, again, I just really felt compelled to start with this before we get into the color stuff today, the personality stuff today, because of how Louis started off, and it hit me, you know what I mean? As I was preparing for this, and I'm going, okay, I obviously do some investing, I do some crypto investing, I certainly understand something about the space. I always want to make sure I'm serving the audience that I'm talking to the best way I possibly can. And you know what? This audience focused strictly on crypto. obviously there's a few things I wouldn't bother talking about because they're not relevant. But in general, this audience is like the audience I talked to last night in the regard that there's human beings here. And human beings are all born to win and programmed to lose. So I'll give you again, this is the core of what I was like. And I have a feeling a few of you can really, really relate to this. So again, and it goes to what Louis was saying in the beginning. So I know it's going to serve someone. So I'm sure you've all seen the image of the little kitten who looks into a full-length mirror and sees back the reflection of a lion. And it's like, wow, that's so motivational. And it is. I love that. But I was the exact opposite. I was a lion. I was a badass who looked in the mirror, and because I was looking for what was wrong with me, I saw a kitten. That's a problem. If you're a kitten, if you really don't have a whole lot of talent and you see yourself as a badass, well, hallelujah, good for you. Look at that. Oh man. Now come on now. That's impressive. Look at you guys making me look good. I love that. So that's inspiring, but imagine, just keep the image for a second. Imagine the opposite. Imagine if that lion is looking into the mirror and seeing back the reflection of a kitten, and you can see where that's a problem. So when I graduated college, I applied for jobs that paid $20,000 to $22,000 a year. So how does a guy get a job for $200,000 a year if you only apply to jobs that pay $20,000 a year because of your self-image? So I work with people all the time. I know Louis, some of the guys who've gone through a training I did called Journey that we now call Breakthrough, and it focuses on your self-image. A little of what we'll do today can be your self-image, but this is again the bottom line. You were programmed, whether it was intentional or not, whether you understand it or not. You were born to win and then programmed to lose in a lot of different ways. So what we need to do is reprogramming, and it's not that complicated. It sounds complicated, but it's not. I want you to think of your phone for a minute. So in your phone, you obviously have settings, right? Now, I just got a new phone about a week ago. So when your phone comes brand new, if you're not restoring it from the cloud, if it comes just the way it is, it comes with quote unquote factory settings for everything. So there's no picture of you and your honey on the front screen. The font size is not the size you want it to be. Like it is set from the factory. Now, how many people just take their phone the way it comes from the factory and just use it like that forever? You never put a ringtone on it that you like. You never put a photo on it that you like. You never put a background on it that you like. You never change anything. You just use factory settings. Do you do that? Because nowadays, even people that are not that sophisticated change their settings. So you can change your settings. Because when you were young, within your first 5 to 10 years, the way you were born up created your factory settings. So one of my favorite quotes is the simplest quote in the world, which is Albert Einstein, pretty highly respected guy. And he said, question everything. Over the years, I take people through a process where we write down all of your, not all of your beliefs, but about 40 of your beliefs about important things. As an adult, what are your current beliefs about these things? And then we trace back where that belief came from. And in almost every situation, if you can remember at all where it came from before you were 10 years old, which is wild. Because you should not be making life decisions about things about your political beliefs or your spiritual beliefs or anything like that because someone influenced you or 10. You should be making decisions as an adult with the proper knowledge now. So again, you can reset your settings because you are a freaking lion. Okay, and that's the one thing, again, I just got to get this out and then we'll roll. You're a lion. There's a lion right there, Albert Einstein. He's a lion, but he's a human, and I guarantee you he had self-doubt. So he had doubt whether he was good enough to do it or not. So I'm going to tell you another one. Robert Kiyosaki is a pretty good friend of mine. I've worked with Robert a bunch of times. And if Robert was here right now, and you're saying to yourself, geez, should I be an investor? Robert would slap you in the head if he could. Yeah, he's the kind of guy who might do it. Because if you're not investing, you are screwed. Because people who are saving money are dead, because the inflation is higher than the interest. So if you are literally putting money in the bank and saving it and you think you're doing something good, I'm not talking to you right now. Robert Kiyosaki's talking to you. That's the dumbest thing you could possibly do. You've got to invest it. So there's a skill set to learning how to invest, and you're going through it right now. Some of you guys are new into this process and it's frustrating. So I'm going to teach you another universal success law that's really going to benefit some of you guys right now. There are 4 stages to mastering something. First stage, you're unconsciously incompetent. You don't know that you don't know. So imagine whenever, before you knew what a Satoshi was, before you had any idea what Bitcoin was, you were unconsciously incompetent. You probably have heard the phrase Bitcoin. You had cryptocurrency, you heard it, but you don't, just like a kid. I'm in a car right now. Imagine a little kid in the back seat of a car. They have no idea how to drive the car. They're unconsciously incompetent. Then you started trading. Then you started, hell, just trying to log into your, tell me that sometimes getting into your wallet doesn't freak you out. You got to remember your words. If you misplace your words, if you, there's a lot of, you can get very stressed in the cryptocurrency world when you're consciously incompetent. Just like when you first get behind the wheel of a car and you're 16 years old, or however you can legally drive in your part of the world, and all of a sudden you realize, oh shit, this is hard, man. You got to like look out for oncoming traffic. You got to put your blinker on. You got to do all these things. Now, pause, and this is the important part. This is where almost everyone quits almost everything. I'm going to take you back in my life. I'm 17 years old. I go to my first live concert at Madison Square Garden. I grew up right around New York City. Oh my gosh. I come back from that concert. I saw a guy named Ted Nugent. You probably don't know him. Eddie Money, you may not know him. But they were both guitar players, right? So I come running home and tell my mom and dad, I have to have a guitar. We have to get, now we have no money. My mom and dad were very blue collar. We didn't have money, but I'm like, I have to have a guitar. I have to have a guitar. I have to wear my parents out. So finally for my birthday, they buy me a cheap electric guitar. So now I have the electric guitar. Here we go. Now, how many of you know how to play air guitar, right? Like air guitar, like, you know, you're the, like, oh yeah, air guitar. Well, if you've never played real guitar is a lot different than air guitar. So I plug it in, I start trying, I get a little, you know, book that shows you how to play a G chord and a C chord and an A chord. And oh my gosh, the first thing I figure out is your fingers hurt a lot. Those of you who play guitar know what I'm talking about. Like it, after playing for like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, your fingers hurt like hell. Secondly, it's hard to play a guitar with no instruction. So I played that guitar. I mean, I had so much willpower and determination. By the way, it sounded horrible. My dad was less than thrilled with the noises that were coming out of my bedroom. And after 3 whole days of giving it everything I had, not giving it everything I had, I put the guitar down for a while because, you know, I was frustrated. I was in the stage of consciously incompetent, and truth, I gave up. Thank God for me, many years later, I bumped into a friend in college and he taught me how to play guitar and he stayed with me and he got me enough repetitions when I was in that frustrated stage of consciously incompetent. And I fought through, and this is what some of you guys are going to have to do right now with crypto. You're going to have to fight through. You're going to have to endure some losses. You've got to look at this like you're running a marathon. It's one thing or the other. Most people, and I'm going to get the personalities here in just a minute, they think of everything like it's a sprint. They're going as fast as they can to get to the destination. I understand. I'm not saying that's a bad mindset. What I'm telling you is if you are going to master anything, you've got to look at it like it's a marathon. You have to, because no one is good. Nothing of greatness comes quickly or easily. And anyone who tells you that you can get great quickly is full of shit. There's a lot of gurus that are on the internet right now that are teaching you, oh my gosh, I can teach you how to be a master of this. One time a guy told me, I can make you a scratch golfer, like a pro golfer, in 5 lessons. See, that sounds good. I was ready to give the guy my money, and then my buddy who played golf for his whole life said, that's ridiculous. No one, Tiger Woods couldn't teach you how to be a pro golfer in 5 lessons. That's ridiculous. One of the books that makes me want to punch a hole in the wall is The 4-Hour Work Week. And again, if you love the book, I'm sorry, I don't want to upset you. I don't want to upset the author. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but it teaches the wrong mindset. Everyone wants a hack right now. Some of you guys want a hack today. Like, what's the hack? The hack is you got to work your ass off, and it's going to take you quite a while to learn. And one of the best ways to learn is through painful experiences, because you're in that stage of being consciously incompetent and you make a mistake. Again, we often learn in periods of peak emotion. We remember things better when something stings. The key is to learn from your mistakes. So again, if you make a mistake, don't like beat the crap out of yourself. And I'm going to explain to you in a moment, there are some personality types that beat the crap out of themselves when they make a mistake. No matter how you do it, you've got to go from stage 2 to stage 3. You've got to get to where you're consciously competent. And now I can trade and I understand what I'm doing and I win most of my trades, but it takes a lot of focus and it takes a lot of energy. I remember when I first learned how to drive a car. Even better example is when I learned how to ride a horse. I remember when I finally got to where I was consciously competent at riding a horse. I could do it and I could be effective, but oh my gosh, after riding a horse for an hour, I was exhausted, not just physically, more so mentally and emotionally, having to remember all of the things you need to do to ride a horse. If you don't know this, horses don't like human beings being on their back. If you're talking about a real serious horse, holy shit. I'm not talking about one of the 30-year-old horses that you put your little kid on and we do a trail ride. Those horses have given up and they understand that's the way their life is. I'm talking about a vibrant horse on a, oh my gosh, they do not want you or me on their back. So to get on their back and be able to stay on their back and do what you need to do for an hour, when I was done, oh my gosh. Whew. Now, if you stay in conscious competence mode long enough, and let me tell you, when you're in conscious competent mode, even though you're no longer consciously incompetent, even though you should be joyful that you're consciously competent, a lot of people are still not happy. They're frustrated because it's so much work and it takes so much energy and so on and so forth. But if you push through that stage and you get to unconsciously competent, game over. Like I have my friend who taught me how to ride a horse. This guy could ride a horse backwards for a guy. He's not thinking about riding the horse at all. He's on a horse like you are in a car. When you're in a car, come on, give me a break. You're drinking a coffee, you're on your cell phone, you're doing all sorts of things. You know what I mean? That you get what I'm saying. You are not focused on the act of driving the car because you're unconsciously competent. Me with the guitar now, I'm unconsciously competent. Me doing my business, my core business, I'm unconsciously competent. And that comes from repetitions. It comes from time. What's the difference between an apple and an apple seed? An apple seed and an apple. The difference is time. Okay, no way does an apple seed grow into a full-grown apple quickly. You cannot microwave that process. You've got to allow time to happen. And I know that human beings, and certainly certain types of human beings, get more frustrated more quickly. But again, just understand, your goal, very simply, is to become unconsciously competent at trading crypto. So you need to have great instruction. Being a part of this group is obviously going to serve you in a very powerful way, where you learn. Because listen, I told you earlier, a lot of what I teach is not specific things. It's universal success principles. Like what I'm telling you today, you could apply it to a lot. However, these guys are teaching you specifics about exactly how to trade crypto, and you've got to have both. You've got to have that information. Imagine if you want to be a medical doctor and you go to Tony Robbins, who's probably the best in the world at teaching mindset, certainly the most respected in the world at teaching mindset. And Tony Robbins, if you've never been to him, he'll get you to walk on fire. He's unbelievable. And at the end, you are so motivated, and he motivates you to be a medical doctor and to operate on people. So you go to the hospital, you go into an operating room, you grab a scalpel and start operating without any training. How's that going to work out? It's not going to work out well for the patient, I can assure you that. So being motivated and driven and focused and understanding some of what I'm doing is important. You got to have the mindset, but you also have to have the specific skill, and you got to stick with stuff long term. That's the bottom line. So let me get now into the colors specifically. I just think that was a good way to get things warmed up. So again, hopefully one of the things you walk away from this, yes, you're supposed to be an investor, and it is going to take time for you to get to being unconsciously competent. But here's the other thing, it's worth it. Here, I'm telling you right now, most people quit almost everything, whatever they're doing. Okay, when I was brand new, and the first thing I learned from my mentor was a multi-zillionaire. 3 simple rules. Louis knows these. Pay attention, get excited, never quit. Pay attention, get excited, never quit. Now, I remember sitting there going, why is there a rule not to quit? Like, that's stupid. Like, why would I quit? Like, well, 50% of all marriages end in divorce. I don't know about what, like, in your part of the world. In America, where we all pay for our own university and it's friggin' expensive, more than 50% of the people who go to college drop out. So people quit. And it's expensive to get divorced, and it's expensive to go to college, and there's no refund policy on either, and people still quit. Now, if they're going to quit stuff like that, I mean, give me a break. There's a lot of people who are going to quit. It's just the way things are. When the going gets tough, most people quit. So you just have to understand that you can't quit. You got to stay with this until it works. It's a marathon. If you are in a literal marathon, my daughter runs marathons now, and I've had a lot of friends who run marathons, and they've always said that when you're running a marathon, you go through virtually every human emotion known to mankind. Joyful ones, depressed ones. Believe it or not, imagine going through jealousy while you're running a marathon, which doesn't make any logical sense. But if you know this, there's a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. If you haven't read that, you need to read that. As an investor, you need to read that, number one. Number two, in the book, he says when you're dealing with human beings, you're not dealing with creatures of logic. And that's a problem. If you can learn how to trade with logic, you're going to be way ahead of the game. But most people are emotional. This is Dale Carnegie. This is one of the most phenomenally respected books ever written. And it says when you're dealing with a creature, a human, you're dealing with a creature of emotion. If you are trading with emotion, you are in trouble. You have got to take the emotion out of it, but it's very, very difficult. So again, one of the core things I learned, born to win, programmed to lose, one of the ways I'm winning is I've taken control of my emotions. I'm human. I still have emotions. I have negative emotions, but I refuse to let my negative emotions control my behavior. And that is really powerful when it comes to doing what you guys are attempting to do. It's incredibly important. So pay attention, get excited, never quit. You have a bad day at the office, you don't quit. You know, it looks like in your mind you're never going to get there. And here's the bottom line. What's the alternative? Is the alternative to never learning how to trade? Like, how are you going to live with yourself if someone that you're in this group with becomes a multi-zillionaire taking the techniques that they're teaching you, and you end up just giving up? How are you going to live with yourself? Not only that, how are you going to stay ahead of inflation, man? So this is a vital thing that you must learn. It's not an option. Stop giving yourself an option. This is not something you're going to give it. This is not a hobby. This is not like, well, I'm going to try to learn how to ride horses, or I'm going to try to learn how to play golf. This is something you need to master. So again, it's going to take time. That's cool. Now, as far as personalities go, there's 4 basic personalities. And by the way, I didn't invent this. When anyone teaches this kind of stuff and acts like they invented it, it makes me laugh my ass off. This goes all the way back to ancient Greece and a doctor named Hippocrates. Hippocrates was examining people's personalities, and he believed and wrote in his book, God, don't ever read this book. It's the most granular, boring thing I've ever read in my life. But I felt if I'm going to be someone who really is masterful at teaching this, I should read the book. I truly don't recommend it to anyone. But he analyzed that there's 4 fluids in the human body, and the ratios of them, the different ratios in your body, determine your personality, or what he called your humor. We would call it your personality. So they are, number 1, your blood. Number 2, the amount of phlegm you have in your body. Number 3, the amount of yellow bile. And number 4, the amount of black bile. So again, that's just the way it is. So a lot of people are like, when I go through these personalities, this is what's fun. I've been teaching this forever and ever and ever. But lately, I've been teaching it a lot because it's our core thing we're focusing on. And a lot of people, when they hear the first personality, or any of the personalities, when you hear the positives about them, people are like, ooh, I want to be like that. So it's funny to me, they don't hear the negatives, because when I do this, I always show you the positive and negative, because here's happy premise number 1. No personality is better than another personality. And again, if anyone is teaching you that you should be more you should be more red or more blue or whatever, it's like, that's the crazy. Imagine you're in Africa and we are dealing with 4 types of animals. We have rhinos, we have zebras, we have warthogs, and we have giraffes. Imagine a giraffe saying, yeah, can you teach me how to be a rhino? It's like, no. I can teach you how to be the best possible giraffe known to mankind. So how are you going to change the amount of yellow bile you have in your brain? Anyone have a game plan for that? Because I haven't figured it out. I've been doing this for a long time. So I'm a person who believes we can always grow and adapt and change. Can I make a decision now? Can I grow? Can I learn? Of course, that's what my life is dedicated to. But you ain't going to change the amount of black bile you have in your brain. You're not going to change the amount of phlegm you have in your body. You are going to have these fluids in your body the way they are. So your general temperament, your general personality is the way it is. So don't try to change it. Try to understand it. Now, when I normally teach this, and I'm not going to do a lot of this today because it's not going to serve you in your capacity of being a trader. But to me, the biggest lesson here is not understanding myself. Today, I'm going to talk to you about understanding yourself, because it's going to help you be a better trader. That's one major lesson. That's one of there's 2 major things. And one of the 2 major things is understanding yourself, your personality. The second thing, and the reason why I do it in colors instead of anything else, some of you guys maybe have heard of the DISC model of this, or the Myers-Briggs, the 16 personalities. There's ones where they do seasons of the year, they do animals, and everyone likes their thing better. And that's cool. God bless all of them. Here's why I use colors. Because for me, one of the biggest lessons here is I am the way I am. I'm one of the 4 personalities. I'll tell you which one in a little bit. And I have a tendency to just be that color like you do. It's who we naturally are. However, I read people the minute I meet them, and I figure out what color they are. And then, like a chameleon, I'm sure you've heard of chameleon, I change my color. And that's the trick here. It's a simple trick, but it's a trick. It's the hack. I change my color and I communicate with the person in their color, because then they will unconsciously like me and trust me. How many times have you ever been sitting across the table from someone and you don't know why? You just met them, and within a minute or two, you don't like them. You don't know why. They haven't necessarily said something upsetting or offensive. You just don't like them. On the other hand, you just met someone, it's been a couple of minutes, and you just like them. And again, you don't know why, you just like them. I'm telling you, it's because they're speaking your color is a lot of the reason why you like them. So what if I could teach you how to immediately read someone and transform your color and talk in their color? They won't even know what the hell is going on. All that will happen is they're going to like you and trust you instantly. You want people to buy from you, they have to like you and trust you. You want people to go on a date with you, they have to like you and trust you, and on and on. You want people to follow your leadership and direction, they have to like you and trust you. So again, that's a big part of it, is being a chameleon. And maybe we'll come back if I didn't suck really bad today, and I can go more into the chameleon part of it for you, because I think it would serve you in a lot of different areas of your life. But now let's just talk about the 4 major colors and which one of them you fit into. And at the end of this, you're going to get to take the test. Okay, they'll put that up in the chat. And let me just tell you now, that's my free gift to you. So you've got to take the test. And when you take the test, you'll be given an opportunity to buy our first baseline product. And you're going to have a code to put in when you get to checkout, and you'll get the first product for free. As my gift to you, out of respect I have for Louis and the people who organize your group. I just want to serve you guys and give you something. And you're going to get, with the free code, you're going to get a personalized report. Very personalized. So you're either going to score your highest score, or you'll either be blue, green, red, yellow. Now, I'm being real with you. For the last 35 years, if you were a blue, every blue got the same information. Every red got the same information, and so on. Now, nobody gets the same information. We're using AI technology. We've changed the way we ask the questions. We're getting more detailed answers. That's why you've got to take the test, because when you take the test, you give us all the information. The AI compiles it and spits out a personalized report, which blows my mind. The amount of information, I would have died to have all the information about myself many, many years ago. So anyway, you get that, and then every Tuesday I do a training, and we do it at different time zones, so it will work for one. It'll work for Asia, and even if for whatever reason you miss it, then you can go back and watch the replay, and you have lifetime access to both of those things. So you can watch it again and again and again, because I'm telling you, with this, repetition is absolutely vital if you're ever going to become unconsciously competent. So you get both things, the personalized report and what I call living in full color training, which is live with me every single week, and that will get into all that kind of good stuff. So anyway, when you take the test, you'll know what color you are. But for now, let me just go through the 4 of them very, very quickly. Red is the first one. I'm a red. Reds are driven. They're aggressive. They're competitive. They're brave, man. They're willing to go into a fight, no problem. They're confident. They're natural born leaders. People love to follow them. They have charisma. They have charm. They're passionate about what they're doing. When someone's got that incredible passion about what they do and what they believe in, that's generally a red person. So you can understand now why a lot of people are like, ooh, I want to be red. Or people who really don't understand what they're saying is try to tell people you need to be more red. Like you can change the amount of red or bile you have in your brain. So anyway, the red traits, the positive red traits are amazing. Let's go through the negative ones. Very selfish. Egotistical. The world revolves around them. They usually have a bad temper. They have a very quick, bad temper. They can be very mean and dismissive and condescending to people. They're arrogant. So again, there's a lot of things here that when you're hearing the front part and go, ooh, I want to be like that, it's like, oh, be careful when you decide what you want to be like. And that's what I tried to say in the beginning. No one of these is better than the other one. They're all equally powerful. So in other words, when you get your report, you're going to get a report, if you're a red, of a bunch of successful red people. But if you're yellow, which is in a lot of ways opposite of red, you are not driven and aggressive and competitive and all that stuff. We'll show you a shitload of yellows who are wildly, amazingly successful in life. So it's not about changing your color. It's about you being the best possible version of whatever color you are, because you are what you are. So if you're a zebra, you're a zebra. You can't not be a zebra. So the goal is to train you to be the best damn zebra that God ever created, if that makes sense. So again, as a red, we love material things. We love brand names. Oh my gosh. So red ladies are definitely carrying Louis Vuittons and Birkins and things. They're wearing Christian Louboutin shoes. They're going and buying the all couture designer type stuff for the ladies. For the guys, same things, man. We got to have the biggest house. We have to have the most badass cars, you know. So here's the thing. Reds must have respect. That's our number one go-to value. We want respect more than anything else. Now, I'm not going to get into this too heavily right now, but there's a typical red. Right now, I'm describing a typical red, but there's a dysfunctional red, and then there's a highly functioning red. And the same thing with all four colors. If you are a dysfunctional red, you're demanding respect, which doesn't work. Like, you have to earn people's respect. So reds want to be respected. So they feel like if I drive this is a Mercedes. So if I drive a Mercedes, people will respect me. I've got a badass. I just got my insurance company sent me a thing that said one of my watches is now worth, with inflation, $88,000. I'm like, which is, I love it, but it's like there's a green who's very opposite, very, very opposite of a red gone. Why would you spend $88,000 for a watch? That is the dumbest ass thing. I can, on my phone, it tells me what time it is just as accurately as your watch does. Why would you do that? And it's not that he's right and I'm wrong, or I'm right and he's wrong. It just is the way it is. We're differently. So by learning this information, and again, we're just going to do a little bit of it today and aim it towards trading, but it's bigger. Because some of you guys have a spouse, and just like I said, you're a red, they're a green. So you want to buy the most expensive shit, and they're the polar opposite. They want to buy baseline stuff and spend all their money in investments in the future, and they're practical, and they're not spontaneous, and they're not passionate and emotional. So you're driving each other crazy. So by understanding that it's not that you're trying to drive each other crazy, not that you want to fight all the time, that your natural settings are this way, their natural settings are that way, that can save a marriage, man. It can save a friendship. It can save a business partnership. So again, there's a lot to it. Trying to stay on point here, but it's hard because there's so much to it. So reds love the best things life has. Now, their number one go-to value is respect. Number one away value, they cannot be embarrassed or humiliated. That is like the number one thing for a red. So reds generally are control freaks. Not just they want to control everything. They do want to control everything, which is why trading is hard for them. That's why it is hard, because it's not within your control. And you want to make it within your control. But you have to understand certain things are in your control, certain things are not. So you can control what you can control. You can't control the markets. Like right now, what the fuck? What's going on with the markets? I'm an American. We have President Trump. He is definitely doing the tariff thing. It's affecting the markets all over the world. What is the end result going to be? Who the hell knows? What's going to happen tomorrow? Like, things are happening right now. Like, I looked at my portfolio, my regular portfolio, and it was a certain amount a month ago. The other day, it was down startlingly, like, whoa. So I couldn't control everything that's going on. Then some other things were done. Now all of a sudden, it's all the way back up. And again, that was out of my control. So as a red, it's hard for me because I want to control things. And I cannot be embarrassed or humiliated. That's my number one thing. So anyway, that's a general red. Let's move on. In a lot of ways, the opposite of a red is a yellow. Not in all ways, but in a lot of ways. Yellows are not greedy. They're not materialistic. The yellows say things like the best things in life are free. So money is not their number one thing. Material things, they don't care about designer brands. They could care less. It would be very unusual for a yellow to want to buy a Louis Vuitton handbag. Now, I know someone here right now is yellow and you like Louis Vuitton. Okay, so here's the thing you also got to understand. All of us have all four colors in us. No one is only red or only yellow or only blue, etc. So depending, a lot of people, and again, I just don't have time right now, but it's not just your main color, it's your top two colors. And this is explained in the free report you guys are going to get. So you'll love it. And there's times when you take the test, you'll understand your two personalities. And sometimes I'm a red yellow. So sometimes my red dominates, sometimes my yellow dominates, and it will explain all that. The report's going to help you a lot because I'm going to run out of time teaching everything I'd like to teach you. Okay, so yellows are caring, compassionate. They're more emotional, but not like fire emotional, like sensitive emotional. They'll feel things very, very, very deeply. They're very relationship driven. So they care more about a relationship. So if a red had to screw a friend so they could make a shitload of money, they would do it. A lot of reds, most reds, a typical red and certainly a dysfunctional red would. Highly functioning, maybe not, because they operate differently. A yellow, never. A yellow would never screw a friend or a family member so they could make a bunch of money. They just wouldn't do it. Now, again, not saying one is right and one is wrong. It's the same thing all over again. I'm just telling you the way it is. So yellows are wonderful kind. They have more emphasis on family than anyone else. They're more spiritual than anyone else. They love animals. They are pro-environment. They love hiking and being in nature. Again, so many great things about yellows. They're very good communicators. Problem with yellows, and this is a big one when it comes to trading. Professional worriers. They worry more than anyone else. So they look at the future and they worry about what's going to happen. So again, let's go back to what's going on with the markets right now. Like what's going to happen today? What's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen next week? So to certain people, you control your emotions, and the things that are out of your control are out of your control. So you're calm. You make your move. You do what you're doing, and then you let it go. Yellows can't let it go. Yellows are going to worry their ass off about everything. And again, it's just your makeup. It's the way you are. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Now, this is where, again, people want to change. You don't change, but can you get better? Yes, because a typical yellow worries a lot. A dysfunctional yellow worries to the point of giving themselves an ulcer physically. They cannot turn it off. They worry about everything. They worry about their spouse's behavior. They worry about the economy. They worry about weather. They worry about this. They worry about that. Dysfunctional. Highly functioning yellows can relax. There's still going to be a little bit of anxiety and tension, but they literally understand that if something is out of their control, that they learn to let it go. They can move on and live their life without constantly stressing and worrying about it. Other thing with yellows, they hate confrontation. They will do anything to avoid confrontation. Reds live for confrontation. If you piss off a red, they're going to be in your face right now and want to discuss it right now. If you piss off a yellow, they're not going to say anything because they don't want the fight. They don't want the argument. So they just let things go and let things go and let things go and let things go. The problem is any human being that lets things go, if you're irritating me every day and I let it go, let it go, let it go, at some point I'm going to lose my mind because I've been suppressing it. And by the way, that's not a good emotional thing to do, to suppress something. A lot of times you need to confront it. It's healthy to confront it. So reds naturally confront things. Yellows naturally suppress things. Yellows also have a tendency to buy people's reasons or excuses. So if you're in a management position or even in being a parenting, a situation when they come to you and say, yeah, I tried, but you have a tendency to buy a reason or excuse. Again, a red, no way. A red's like bullshit. You were supposed to do it by this point. No forgiveness. You didn't turn your homework on time. I'm a red teacher. You get a 0. If I'm a yellow teacher and you tell me the dog ate your homework, you're like, all right, I'll give you until tomorrow. It's just different. Yellows are natural peacemakers. They want everyone to be at peace. They want peaceful, easy life. Again, they're not concerned about materialistic things. They're just really wonderful, caring, compassionate, relationship-oriented people. Okay, let's go on to the blues. Blues are the spontaneous, live for the moment, have a blast, let's have an adventure. They're very, very short. They're the most short-term thinkers of everyone else. They do not think about the consequences of their actions. So they do stuff and then think about it, which is obviously, sometimes it's exhilarating, sometimes, wow. They make more big mistakes than everybody else. They are more impulsive than everyone else. Reds can be impulsive. Blues are more impulsive. Blues, when you're communicating with them, it's almost like they're ADD. It's very difficult for them to stay focused, very difficult for them to stay on point. Blues are late for freaking everything. Late all the time, which has a tendency to drive people crazy. And here's the thing with a blue, they don't think it's a big deal. So literally, you're a blue right now. Like, let's say you're trying to recruit me into your business. So you're trying to sell me your investment, whatever. And we have an appointment set up for 1 o'clock and you show up 5 minutes late. Oh, you're done. I'm a red. I run on respect, right? I want respect. The way I look at you being late is you don't respect me. So I don't give a shit what you're selling. I'm not going to buy it. I don't care. You could give it to me for free. I'm not going to even take it because you've irritated me because you weren't on time. Greens, which we'll get to in a moment, greens want to stab you because you're late. Like, that is the ultimate. They have lost all sense of respect for you because you're late. Now, another blue, hell, they're going to be late too, so they don't care. So blues are late all the time. In business, we say the fortune is in the follow-up. Research is real. Blues don't do research. They can't be bothered. They don't like details. The follow-up, they forget to follow up. They're very, very forgetful. A lot of times the blue is the one who comes out and looks around and goes, where do we park the car? Like, they forgot where they parked their car, or they can't find their keys. Again, now a lot of this, by the way, is funny because it's real. It's almost like a comedy show in some ways. People are going, oh my gosh, that's me. And I get it. So again, the thing here is not to beat the crap out of yourselves. By the way, the yellows are the ones who beat the shit out of themselves. So if you are a red trader and you make a mistake, oh, it pisses you off, but you want to jump back on the horse and trade again. A yellow beats the shit out of themselves. Why did I do that? I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe I'm not good enough. Or, again, it's just a very different way of looking at it. Blues, again, blues are very hard time making a decision. So again, when it comes to trading, reds are great because they analyze something, they make a quick decision, and they stick with it. Blues second guess everything they do. Blues and yellows have a much harder time making a decision. Okay, greens can also take a longer time to make. Okay, so I'm sorry. Blues and yellows don't like making decisions. They're natural followers. They would like someone else to make a decision. So typically, as a blue or yellow, you want someone else to call a trade for you. You want someone else to tell you what to do because you don't want to do the research. You don't want to have the responsibility, and you're not confident in your decision-making process. A red is going to make a decision. Don't tell a red what to do. You're going to piss them off. Give them the information. They're going to make a decision, and they'll make it pretty damn quickly. Greens are the very opposite of blues. Okay, so blues are spontaneous, high energy, really outgoing, extremely extroverted, live for the moment. Greens are the polar opposite. They're introverted. They are analytical. They are going to analyze, get all the details, get all the facts and figures. So that's good. Obviously, if you give a green a plan of action, they will execute it better than anybody else. Here's the problem with the green. If you don't give them a plan of action, they usually do nothing. A lot of greens do so much research that they have paralysis by overanalysis. And this is where it does relate to trading. They have a hard time pulling the trigger. Usually in any kind of investment situation, greens do not get in on the ground floor. They want to see the market trend in a certain direction, and then they'll make a purchase, or then they'll make a sale. They're very rarely the first one in because they don't like taking risk. They're very risk adverse. Reds are the most willing. They're the gamblers. They're the wild, crazy, like, let's roll the dice. Let's go ahead and buy this stock. It's really low. Everyone else has gotten rid of it. I just have a feeling this one's going to explode. A green doesn't do shit by feeling. You got to be kidding me. Greens are the least emotional, which can be good in trading. I already talked about that. They don't go with gut feelings. They go with facts and figures, which is good. However, again, obviously, anyone you know who's a phenomenal trader, they have some level of intuition. Now, here's what's wild. Yellows have more natural intuition than anyone else. So if you have a good friend who's a yellow and they're a trader and they tell you they got a feeling, that's something to pay attention to. Reds are more impulsive. They also get feelings. Greens are not impulsive. They do not get feelings. And if they get a feeling, they do not let it control what they're going to do with their money. So they're in one way, they're not going to have big losses. Greens are not going to go for wild pie in the sky investments. You know, a red will, when someone comes along and says, oh my gosh, give me your money, I can give you some crazy, rate of return. Reds are the ones who are going to bite that hook for sure, because Reds want to live in Trump Tower. They want to have the biggest house, all that kind of good stuff. So they want those gigantic returns. So they're more willing to take the risk. A green is like, that's illogical. It's unrealistic. That's one of the green's favorite words, is unrealistic. Now, green is also, let me just finish talking about them. Greens are perfectionists. It's one of the reasons why greens often are not very happy, because no matter how much success they have, it's not perfect. They got 98 on the test. It wasn't 100, and it literally bothers them. Where if a blue got a 98 on the test, they'd be like, glory, hallelujah, let's go out and party and celebrate. You know what I mean? It's a very different mindset. And a red, just like yellows and reds are opposite, blues and greens are very opposite in a lot of ways as well. Greens are very unforgiving. So if you piss off a green, or if you do something wrong to a green, greens are the ones who will just cut you out of their life. Even if you're their brother or their mother, or they're like now to a yellow, cutting my brother out of my life sounds like the most, they'd rather cut their arm off than cut a family member out of their life. That's incomprehensible. To a green, they're unforgiving. It's black and white. They're not as emotional. They are not as family oriented as the other people. So when someone says that whole, they're dead to me, a green can do that and mean it. A red can do it as well, but a green is the one who will hold a grudge and be unforgiving longer. And greens got to show you that they're right. They've got to prove to you they're right. They will often, when you're in an argument, they'll Google someone, shove their screen. They have a deep need to be right. Reds and greens want to be right. Reds and greens are natural born leaders. They want to lead the pack. They don't like people telling them what to do. They want to make their own decisions. Yellows and blues are more natural born followers. So again, when it comes to trading, greens are going to be good. If this whole long-term thing sets a green up well. Here's the other thing. Normally a green has more money to invest because they live on a budget and they don't waste money. Many times blues don't even have money to invest because they're so chasing the bright, shiny thing. They're so spontaneous. They're so short-term thinkers. So again, as a blue, you're going to have a challenge normally with investing. You've got to understand that a lot of investing is letting something stay there and grow, letting it go through the turbulent times and let it go. Blues will panic more than anyone else because they're short-term thinkers. Blues are going to panic. Reds are going to panic. Greens have a tendency to not panic. Again, they're not normally very emotional, but like I said earlier, they're very slow to take action. So they often miss out on the quote unquote windfall profits. Okay. As far as a red goes, they're gamblers, they're more impulsive. With a red, I would say slow down a little bit, analyze things a little bit more. When you get passionate, that's cool, but don't let your passion go crazy. Here's the other thing you got to understand if you're a red. If you have the horrible day, don't jump off the balcony of your condo. Okay, reds, their success is who they are. Reds let their money, their success, remember everything is about respect. So if they lose a lot of money, they literally can't stand it. You know the deal. You shouldn't be investing anything you can't afford to lose. Okay. And this is particularly important. If people are going to invest money they can't afford to lose, it's typically a red. Because again, they want to win so badly. They want to win big so badly that they'll take much bigger risks. So that means they get much bigger wins. It means they also get much bigger losses. So you've really got to be careful not to do something crazy if you have a bad loss. Okay. Everything, we all know this now, no matter, I know that crypto is new, but if you look at any other kind of investment, the traditional stock market, real estate, any kind of investment, it cycles, it comes back around. So if you just relax, eventually things will correct themselves and you'll be back in the game. Remember, yellows are the biggest warriors. So the biggest thing I would say to a yellow is trust your intuition. Know that your intuition can be very, very valuable. Not that you shouldn't analyze things like a green would, like they're teaching you to do, but your natural intuition is better than most people's natural intuition. But you've gotta not worry about it. You gotta be able to shut it off and not look at that app all day, every day, and see what the markets are doing every two. You got to be able to shut it off, live your personal life, and then understand whatever happens while you're not, you can't control it. So let it go. And then with the blues, again, you've got to put more money aside. You've just got to get to a point where, getting some new exciting thing or going on to adventure or going to a concert, you got to get more excited about earning a return on your investment and seeing that, and also understanding, I'm sorry that Rome wasn't built in a day, and I'm sorry it's going to take a while to become a great trainer, become unconsciously competent. And if you do have a big hit success in the market, resist wanting to take it out right away. Again, that's a very blue tendency. So again, I know we have a time limit here, guys. So I know we wanted to do some Q&A. So I think that's where I'll leave it for now. But Louis, you can ask me questions about anything that you feel like I didn't cover effectively for the community.
Thank you, Mark. So if you guys loved Mark's stuff, type in some hearts or give a M. Any questions that you might have, go ahead and type it in the box. Go ahead and type it in the box. So we're excited. Mark, you've done some great stuff. I got some questions that people submitted earlier, some of your fans. I'll just answer these ones. Mark, how can knowing your personality color, completely revolutionize the way we approach investments and even relationships?
Well, I mean, knowing your color is, you got to look at your strengths and your weaknesses, right? So this is where, again, one of the master classes I'm teaching now is on you making sure you're highly functioning in your color. So here's the thing, if you're dysfunctional in any of the four colors, you're probably going to be a terrible trader, because the negative version, the dysfunctional version of any of these is going to affect your ability to be a good trader. So I would focus on understanding your color really well and really focusing on being a highly functioning version of that color. And again, in a lot of ways, what it's really doing, if I'm blanketing it, is it's teaching you to control your emotions. I mean, I have a very, very good friend of mine who was a dysfunctional red, and he was very impulsive. He very emotional. And when he learned this program, and he's now a very functional red, He's still a little selfish. He's still a little egotistical, but man, has he gotten greater control of his emotions. He makes more money because he treats people better, so he has more money to invest. But he also is winning at a much higher level. He's not taking as many wild risks, and he's gotten more. I'm not going to say he got more green, but he's let go of that impulsive need to like make massive wins every time he trades, if that makes sense. In a relationship, it can be night and day different. I truly believe that probably 50% of all the people who got divorced last year, if they took the colors and they really understood their spouse's color, there's a good chance they would have gotten divorced. I mean, it really genuinely, no bullshit, is that powerful.
Very good. Victor Chan asks, can someone have similar percentages in all the colors?
Yeah, that's a great thing. Listen, when you take it, and this is funny, whenever I do this live, so some people, Victor, like are going to be extreme. Like for me, I'm going to say I'm maybe 35% red. My next closest is 25% or something like that. So there's a good gap between my red and my yellow. Other people are like 27% red, 26% blue, 20. So they're almost the same in all four of them. So, and people always come up to me and go, man, what's wrong with me? Which is funny because that goes back to, you look in the mirror and you see what's wrong with you. We're all the way we are. Just there's no right formula for colors. So if you just happen to be like that, that means you're very, very balanced. And what that competitive advantage you have is that when we go into chameleon part of this, if you're almost the same in all four, and whenever you're communicating with someone, you can speak their language almost like that because you have a lot of that naturally within you. So that's a really, really good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're not almost balanced and you're extreme in one area like I am, that's not bad either. For me, my lowest score is green, meaning I didn't understand green. So I had to spend a lot of time studying and understanding greens and understanding what a red naturally does to piss off a green, so that I would make sure I avoided that. And that has helped me become extraordinarily effective at communicating with greens.
Excellent. And would you agree, like for me, I have different partners who are maybe different types, different colors to kind of well-round my investment strategy. So I might have a green on my team. I might have a red, a blue, a yellow.
Yeah. No, that's phenomenal. Listen, when you're doing partnerships like that, it's great to have what you're not. What's dangerous, I would say, is let's say I have three partners and we're all dead red. You know what I mean? Now we're not going to have any balance there. You know what I mean? So especially in the investment world, I try to make sure we have a prominent red and a prominent green. Not the other colors aren't important, but the balance of red and green when it comes to investing, I think, is going to be very important.
Excellent. Another question: if someone feels stuck in their personality color, but it doesn't align with their goals, how can they harness that awareness to create like a breakthrough?
That's a good point. So again, let's just say someone is a yellow, so they're naturally not super money motivated. You know what I mean? So I get what you're saying. So again, they're going to want to get out of their color. Again, I would strongly urge them not to think like that. I want to go back to being the most highly functioning version of your color. And if I was talking to a yellow who isn't super money motivated and they're not, I would go, look, if you're on an airplane, what it says, if we lose pressure or cabin pressure, masks will come down. And they always say, put your own mask on first before you try to assist other passengers. But a yellow wants to take the mask and help their child, help their spouse, help everyone else around them. So with investing, it's like you can bless way more people if you have way more money. Money only makes you more of what you already are. So put your own mask on first. Make a bunch of money first, even though that's not what you want it for your own benefit. Do it for the other people you want to bless in your life. So I would just try to get them to be the highest functioning version of themselves and understand whatever their holdback is between what their natural feelings are and their goal, that they can still get there if they understand if they understand the weakness and know how to correct it.
Now, I know you've worked with literally millions of people the last few years around the globe. Can you share, because I like case studies, a case study of somebody who learned these strategies and embraced them and actually transformed their life? Do you have a couple case studies?
Oh, God, buddy, I've got so many case studies. I mean, as far as specific to investing, I gave you one of them, but I can think of a guy who was a very dysfunctional red. I mean, really dysfunctional, but he had the red characteristics. He was charismatic. He was charming. He was all this stuff, but he was a blank hole. I mean, he was mean to people. He was rude. He was dismissive. He was egotistical. He didn't care about anyone except himself. And when he went through this training and he got to the part of being a dysfunctional red, here's the thing about a lot of dysfunctional reds. They just look at it and go, ah, this is bullshit, because they're dysfunctional red, because they never do anything wrong. So this guy looked in the mirror and said, damn, that's what I'm like holy crow. So I actually did one-on-one coaching with him, which I don't do that often, but I coached him through. And even though with coaching, I get into a lot of things other than colors, truthfully, the main thing I taught this guy was how to be a highly functioning red. So he was drawing people into his business and chasing them out so fast, it was unbelievable. So he was good. Like, he would make 150, 200,000, and this is a while ago. So this is, I would say in today's dollars, he was making 300,000-400,000 a year. So that's good. But he was constantly rebuilding his business because of what a jackass he was. Then when he learned this concept, and he learned how to, not only did he learn how to not chase people away, but he learned how to empower people and include people. Now he'd be more like a $2 or $3 million a year earner.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Now, let me ask you a question. You talked about you have other programs, and I want to ask the audience, if you would love, if we could, Modern Wealth Academy could get Marc to come out to Asia, or maybe do a Zoom weekend event, type in a M if you would love to see that, in terms of, and Marc, what's your next, what kind of weekend events do you have by chance?
So we have a couple of things. We're going to be doing a virtual event the last weekend of June, so I'll definitely let you know about that. Yeah. And I'll be doing an in-person event. I'm sorry, the first weekend of June. I'm sorry, Louis. The first weekend of June. The last weekend of June, I'm doing an in-person event in Cyprus about how to become a great public speaker. That's one of the things I do best. And then I think some of your folks will know, my training, A View from the Edge. We're definitely doing that at the end of November as a live weekend training. But again, that will be in Europe. Nothing will make me happier than do an event in Asia. Believe me, I would love to do an event in Asia for sure. So, let's work on putting that together with your people and some other folks I know over there. I'm sure we could organize something. I just had someone reach out and say, when are you coming to Singapore? So I was like, well, let's put something together.
Excellent. Excellent. And two questions. Second last question. What did you do? Because I know your trainings are a lot different. You use costumes, you use plays, you do sets. Why do you, because I want to have people embrace their own vitality inside of them. What was the decision for you to embrace doing something different? Most people use PowerPoints and slides. You go in full productions.
Yeah, I mean, so listen, here's the bottom line. Most people, again, this goes back to what I started off in the beginning, Louis, with programming. So by the time you or I graduated high school or secondary school, We spent 14,000 hours in a classroom, and let's be honest, we were bored. We were in, we were out, we're paying attention, not paying attention. So that's the natural state. So when someone comes to any seminar, if the teacher is teaching in the same method that a school teacher taught them, either lecturing or doing a PowerPoint, they're going to be in. It's programming. It just takes over subconsciously. So what we do is, imagine you go to Broadway and you're watching Hamilton, or you're watching Phantom of the Opera or whatever, or you're watching a movie or a TV show that you're engaged in. I'm going to have your attention. So this is not my, think of Sesame Street. When it first came out for kids, they found out that if you want to get your kid to learn something before they get to their first schooling, put them in front of Sesame Street and we'll teach them how to do numbers. We'll teach them how to do letters. So for me, we learned how to give teaching lessons in a entertaining way. You know what I mean? And that's our view from the edge training. So that's definitely the most popular thing I've ever done. And I know for some people it sounds a little bit corny, but you can go to YouTube and check out some of the view from the edge videos, some of the characters. We have some of them up there for free. And you get an idea. It's pretty powerful stuff. It's definitely the most popular thing I've ever been able to do.
Excellent. And as we wrap up, Mark, what's one energizing, they call it game-changing piece of advice you'll give to everyone here to immediately start living and investing in alignment with their true selves? What's one last piece of advice?
Well, I'll go back to like what I started with, to be honest with you, brother. It's like we're born to win, then programmed to lose. So you are a lion. You got to see yourself as a lion. And most people honestly don't. It's like, yeah, you want to see yourself as a lion, but you don't really. But listen, I was a lion. I'm a lion, but I didn't see myself that way. So I wasn't, okay, if I'm not a lion, what if I'm a lion, but I think I'm a kitten? Well, I'm going to act like a kitten. So stop acting like a kitten, man. Act like a lion, because if you're a lion, you're going to be taking the bold steps necessary to do things, you know. So one of the greatest way, what I love to do, Louis, is empower people. My mentor many years ago looked me in the eyes and said, you could be one of the best people ever done this, blah, blah, blah. But here's the problem. Most people never have a mentor who looks them in the eyes and says, you can do this, you can be a badass. So unfortunately, you may have to do it yourself. And it's okay. You're not being cocky or egotistical. If you don't believe in yourself, how is anyone else going to believe in you? So again, I really, really recommend giving it a try. You know, you have lots of flaws. I have lots of flaws. Oh my God, there's things I suck at. And if I spend a majority of the day focusing on what I'm bad at, then I don't see myself as a lion, and I'm not going to act like a lion. But if I can say, look, these are 2 or 3 things I do really, really well, and I'm going to see myself through that prism, now I carry myself differently, and people interact, they respond to the way I carry myself. And that makes all the difference in the world. So again, I'm telling you, part of it is just understanding your color. So I do want to make sure everyone understands we have a 48-hour window for people to use the code. So please go take the test. Like, I do it right away. So you do it right away and you get your gift right away. And then you can have that gift for the rest of your life. But the code will be non-valid within 48 hours.
Yeah, I took it before the class, and incredible. So I'm blue and red. So I'm looking forward to reading all that, and that's great. So MWA1, and Mark, I love what you're doing. I love 15 years, amazing friends. I look forward to bringing you. And if they want to get in touch with you, Facebook, Instagram, all the socials.
Oh, yeah. It's just my name, Marc, M-A-R-C. You can see it there on the screen. Yeah. Marc Accetta. Yeah, follow me, please. I'm on social media, and I do. If you send me a private message, that's one of my things I learned from Gary Vaynerchuk 15 years ago. I answer every one of them myself. No bots, no garbage. I don't pay an employee. I do it all myself, and I love to connect with people. So please reach out and let me know what you thought about today. I always love getting feedback.
Yeah, yeah, and tell Mark that you want him to come to Singapore, and we'll do our best to make it happen. Well, appreciate you, Mark. Much love. Have a beautiful, beautiful morning. I know it's what time is it over there? 7:30 in the morning.
No, now it's 9:30. We start at 8, so I'm actually awake now, which is a beautiful thing.
Nice, and thank you for adapting like the Marines. I know.
Yeah.
It's easy, so appreciate you. Have a beautiful night. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Thank you for allowing me to be here, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Excellent, everybody. Excellent. So let me just share the screen real quick, and I can show you where to log in for Mark. Let's see if we stay here. 1 second. Let me present, share screen. In terms of that, I'm going to share with you guys. You guys see my screen? In terms of this, so this is where you take the free test right here. You take the free test. You click on it. And let's see here. You click on the free test. It's going to open up. Let's see if it opens up. Okay, let me change my screen. Share screen. Give me 1 second. Move this up. Present. Share screen. Entire screen. True. Okay, so you'll see the screen. You take the test right here. Okay, you go through the test. At the very end, they're going to ask you like come up like a pop-up. Do you want to buy his program? Like more details. The test is free, but more details, more insights. And you type in the code under promotion or coupon code MWA1. And then when you type that in, you're going to get a whole report like this, which is cool. So it'll have kind of your personality report. You get 4 weeks of training. These are all the trainings. You get a lot of good stuff right here. And this is a gift just for the MWA community and just for the next 48 hours. And get all different kinds of other gifts and stuff like that. So cool. So I appreciate you, everyone. You guys have an amazing day. And again, if you love this, comment, share this video for the next 48 hours with friends and family. And I personally would have everyone in my life, from my mom, my dad, to your personal partners, to your kids, do this test, because if it helps you get even 1 or 2% better insight, it's worth it. If you have employees, get them to do it. So you guys have a beautiful night. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys here. Bye. Have a beautiful, beautiful night. Thank you again. Thank you. Thank you.
Very enriching and learn a lot.
My crypto journey has been very eventful, ups and downs, but I've waved the storms and the waves, and I think I believe in crypto, I believe in Bitcoin, and that's why I'm still in the game.
Joined 1 year plus, and it has been a very wonderful journey for me. Thanks.
Thanks to Sirapi, I've learned so much. I put in perseverance, faith in crypto, and all the coaches inspired me so much, especially Resh. So with his technique, I made my first 1K.
I think I was inspired to get the awards when Resh shared this 6 awards. So that was what I aimed to do. So now I've actually done 5, so I'm looking for the last one.
This is my $1,000 in a single trade. I'm very excited about this. And from $500, I've made $2,000, so 3x. And I'm looking forward to my next win, my next award.
This is my first $1,000 in a trade award. I didn't actually aim for 1,000. My target was only a day, or $200-300 a day, which should be enough for me. But I got more than that. So I'm very happy with this award. More than 1,000 USDT in a day. Now currently the record based on the CRP boards that Jay give, that one the CRP board really helped a lot. When the signal come, you take the trade. Normally 90% of it will be profitable. Only 10% will give you losses. So it's a good margin, right, to have. So I'm very happy.
This is my first time getting the award. I get the double award. Yeah, so actually I don't have a very big account, but this 5-figure award actually double my account this round. So it proved that you not just can long the market, you can also short when the market downturn.
Yeah, I just want to take this opportunity to thank the CRP team, all the coaches, for all the learnings that I've obtained in crypto. I feel that I'm now empowered to actually follow the strategies, follow the steps, and to make good money. Thank you so much. I enjoy the community, I enjoy the walks, I enjoy the many opportunities, Zoom links, Zoom calls, as well as live in-person trading. I highly recommend the CRP community, MWA, for crypto trading and learning. CRP!